Welcome back to discuss the escalation of hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah. We are now joined by Anil Kumar Trigunayat, former Indian ambassador. Ambassador, pleasure to have you on DD India. Hezbollah says Sunday's attack was the first phase of its response to the Israeli assassination of its commander, Fouad Shukr, in a strike in Beirut last month. Also, Netanyahu says that this is not the end of the story. An Iranian response is anticipated too. So do you expect that the latest escalation could lead to a wider regional war?
Well, as you know, that there have been efforts to somehow contain the escalation of this conflict by all sides. But the two major actors, especially Israel and Hamas, have not helped in that regard. And this is unfortunately the situation after 10 months that thousands of people have been killed. A large number have been displaced on both sides. And the attack and the killing of Fouad Shukr, who was a Hezbollah commander, deputy commander, and the leader of Hamas in Iran, naturally increased the chances of further escalation. So far, it seems that Israel directly is following some kind of a strategic patience and counting on the ceasefire, whose talks are currently going on in Egypt, in Cairo. But chances there are also very slim. Of course, the Hamas and Israel both are participating along with the US, Qatar, and Egypt there. But at the same time, after these killings, it was expected and it has been announced and claimed by the Hezbollah, the Hamas, the Houthis, and Iran that they will retaliate these killings. And therefore, it is expected, and the timing nobody knows when, but Hezbollah has started in the morning, if you know, that today morning that about 100 Israeli fighters attacked in southern Lebanon, where Hezbollah had hideouts, killing several people there. And in response to that, today, Hezbollah also launched various drones and missiles, about 300 odd of them, trying to overpower the Iron Dome that protects Israel, and therefore causing a lot of mayhem within the Israeli also. It's also a small country, as you know. So there is a chance that escalation can happen, but it could only be contained if there is some kind of a ceasefire that happens. Otherwise, it appears that all the actors in this are trigger happy.
Okay, we'll take that further. But before that, Israel's military says it is ready to fight a war on two fronts, in Gaza and on its northern border with Lebanon. But since Hezbollah is a far more formidable force than Hamas, after almost 1 year into this conflict in Gaza, do you think there is appetite in Israel for another war?
Well, the Israelis, one thing you'll have to grant them, that when they consider it and project it as something of an existential issue for Israel, I think the Jews all around the world unite and support that, including the Israelis themselves. But there is a tremendous discontent against Netanyahu's leadership. As you see, every now and then, even today, thousands of people have been protesting for release of the 100-odd hostages which continue to remain with Hamas. And this is not going to be a war only between Israel and Hezbollah. Hamas question has still not been sorted out fully. We know that there is Houthis are on the other hand are also trying, and they even bankrupted the Eilat port because of the Red Sea attacks of Israel. Then you have Kataib Hezbollah in Iraq, which will also come into picture, even if Iran does not directly participate, and eventually will come into that. So it is not going to remain a war which is contained only on two fronts. It could be a multi-front war in which Israel will get dragged, and it will be very difficult for them to overpower each of their adversaries in this. So therefore, in my view, while they continue to have this aggressive posturing, it is also important that some kind of a ceasefire is achieved, an eventual solution, a two-state solution is arrived at. Whenever it is possible for the Americans to spare some time and genuine efforts are made.
So taking that point further, do you think that there is still hope of a ceasefire deal, or is hope dying?
Well, the problem is that both Hamas and Netanyahu keep on changing their goalposts in the discussions. They agree to something. Biden had agreed to one deal after discussing with the Israelis. Hamas had accepted that. And thereafter, the Israelis went back. They wanted more, that they want to control the Philadelphia corridor. They want to have more towers, which Egyptians have not agreed to, watchtowers. And so, on the other hand, the Hamas wants that there should be a complete ceasefire, that there should be a permanent sort of a ceasefire, and also that there should be no killing of the leaders. And the current leader, Yahya Sinwar, as far as the reports go, is also trying to save himself because he is one of the major leaders left now in the bargain. So I think that they will continue to, and I would be happy if it happens, but I doubt very much that this ceasefire will have any results.
Also, Ambassador, in the long term, do you see anything changing?
Well, it all depends on, I mean, I have always maintained that if the United States is really willing to push it, and the Arab countries push Hamas and all other these non-state actors into compliance, then it is possible. But the solution of this lies in having a two-state solution which should be equitable. And then only you can have some kind of, otherwise we'll see the repeat of it. You have seen this is the fifth war between Israel and Hamas already since 2008. There have been 3 major wars or 4 major wars between Arab countries and Israel until 1973. So I think that this is something that has the root cause of all these is the problem of Palestine that needs to be resolved somehow or the other by the international community. And in that, I think the biggest onus lies on the United States and its willingness to do that.
Also, Ambassador, towards the end, could both sides be waiting for the next US president to come in? Can the election outcome change the course in any way in the short term?
Well, I think that, we have seen the Biden administration has been very much engaged. And this was 10 times Secretary Blinken has been in the region trying to work out on some deal. Now today, the CIA director is there. So they are very much trying to. But it appears from this that either the Netanyahu considers it a lame duck government and hoping for President Trump to come, who will unflinchingly support them. On the other hand, if Kamala Harris comes, then we might see some kind of a continuation of the current policy. But it is seemingly the influence, I think that it looks like as if Israel is running the US foreign policy rather than the other way around.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Ambassador Trigunaya, thank you so much for sharing your views on this subject.
Thank you. Thank you.